Danielle Smith is in the brunt of being judged these days for her policies, as well as backing protesters when it comes to the national carbon tax protest. Is it people just blowing hot air, or do they have a reason to be upset with her? Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. The carbon tax protest has been covered exponentially by multiple outlets as well as this channel when it comes to people basically displaying their dismay over Justin Trudeau's 23% tax increase as of April 1st. Now, I've shown you guys footage of the RCMP goose-stepping along the side of the highways in Alberta. I've shown you other footage from around places like Ottawa, where the pleb and Daisy Media, others were protesting. We've seen multiple clips of people in Quebec being blocked by police from entering into Ontario to join people in Ottawa for the protests. But now we see the response that I personally was waiting for, and that was from Premier Danielle Smith. Now, I've had Danielle Smith here on the channel. I am a supporter of Danielle Smith. I'm an advocate for Danielle Smith. I think that she has done a fantastic job as the Premier of Alberta, especially in carrying the message forward to the federal government that Albertans are sick and tired of being treated the way that we are in society by Justin Trudeau's woke and overtaxation policies that are putting us into poverty. Now, of course, protesters have the right to protest. We've seen this when it comes to Hamas. We've seen this when it comes to others that of late want to protest and talk about their ideologies. Now, I've covered videos on the channel where we have shown a protest in Calgary a few weeks ago where there were flags stabbed and lit on fire, while certain protesters from Khalistani regimes were holding up sabers and daggers, which again, they have religious exemption to do so. So they're manipulating that exemption to push fear. Now, of course, there were no police involved in that. We've seen videos that, again, I've covered on the channel of Palestinian protesters that were brought coffee by RCMP officers, certainly not impeded, not stopped from continuing with their protests. And, well, there's a little bit of hypocrisy of what comes from Danielle Smith, but I'm going to try to remain Switzerland here. I want to play devil's advocate because as somebody who's entering into municipal politics, now she's provincial, there's a lot of pressure to make sure that you're saying the right things at all times. Actions will speak louder than words. So again, at the time of filming this video, I'm waiting to see what comes forward from Danielle Smith before completely judging. But again, I will say that I can understand why protesters are upset. It says here, Smith tells carbon tax protesters to not stop traffic. Now, a lot of people are angry with Danielle Smith, and I've seen a lot of people messaging me or tagging me on X, formerly known as Twitter, people messaging me on Facebook, people reaching out in the comment sections of YouTube videos or on polls saying that Danielle Smith has added her carbon tax increase to the province as well, to the tune of about 3 cents a liter starting on April 1st. Now, what I want to reiterate to people is that that was a deal that was put forward, if you remember, by Fat Stalin, or as I call him, Jason Kenney, back when he was the Premier of Alberta during the pandemic. This was a method put in place to give relief to Albertans at a time when oil had dropped below a fair price per barrel, and Alberta was impeded from getting its products to market. Now, the deal that was put forward at that time, and again, I'm not going to quote the deal verbatim, but it was once oil reached a certain level in terms of cost per barrel and production went up, that Albertans essentially would be paying the extra 3 cents a liter that the province takes. Now, the reason the province charges that 3 cents a liter isn't for a carbon tax. That's taxation from the province to pay for things like roadways, any kind of infrastructure development. Now, when you look at our roads, if you've been in Alberta, they are in good condition for the most part. I'm just talking like Highway 2, Highway 1, main commuter routes. The city of Calgary, most roads are in good condition. Again, I'm comparing that to when I last visited Winnipeg back in the beginning of March, and well, it's pothole central out there. And again, no fault at Winnipeg, but that's what your extra tax on the fuel is covering. And as a tax-paying citizen, I really don't have a problem for that unless it, of course, isn't going there. And again, once I see proof of that, I'll definitely have something to say about it. Now, Danielle Smith has also taken to news media to state that relief for Albertans provided roughly $7 billion in aid over the last few years while that was implemented. So again, I don't really hold anything to Danielle Smith per se for reinstituting that taxation, because this was a deal that was written into the province's laws back before she was premier. The deal was once oil hits a certain level, the charge comes back on. Not much there are things she could probably do to change that. And before I move on, I'm going to say that I understand people saying, but Derek, we're being taxed into oblivion. I think the main problem comes from the federal government, because again, the tax from the province, I know we're rambling here. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to make sure I'm crystal clear. The tax for the fuel that the province instilled goes again to infrastructure, to roads. The tax that the government is charging us, the federal government, for the increase in carbon tax, we've seen where that money goes. We've seen that it goes to companies like GC Strategies. We've seen that it goes to different outfits that want to prop up billion-dollar slush funds, that want to spend Canadians' money sending it to the Ukraine. This article goes on to say people upset with the federal carbon tax should feel free to protest, but don't block traffic. Now we're getting into the ongoing protest. That was the message from Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, who said she doesn't support carbon tax protesters stopping the flow of traffic or the movement of goods. Now, keep in mind, Danielle Smith supported the Freedom Convoy. And this statement doesn't necessarily, if we look at the words, again, this is coming from True North. She doesn't support the carbon tax protesters stopping the flow of traffic or the movement of goods. So she's not saying she doesn't agree with the protest. This is where I think words get drawn out and put in rough spots. If we look at the context, her comments come as demonstrators outside Calgary have been protesting the federal government's carbon tax, which increased again Monday for 2 days. Smith asked protesters to comply with the provincial Critical Infrastructure Act, which seeks to protect essential infrastructure from interference caused by blockades and protests. So again, guys, I'm going to jump in, devil's advocate. The reason for this is because if we're delaying the delivery of goods and services, well, guess what? The prices then go up. The prices go up at stores even more. Supply and demand. It says here, here's a look at the scene of the carbon tax protest from Rachel Emmanuel outside of Calgary Highway 1 towards Banff. Police have pushed protesters off the highway, which is fully reopened, and formed a line. Now, again, I'm going to get to the protesters, so don't think that this is all in support of Danielle Smith. I don't support it when Extinction Rebellion glues themselves to the streets and stops traffic, and I don't support anyone stopping traffic as well, Smith said at an unrelated press conference this last Tuesday. You can protest. Do it at the side of the road. Don't interfere with the movement of goods. Don't interfere with the movement of your neighbors. So again, she's making a very basic statement here. She hasn't said that she knows for sure protesters are blocking traffic. She hasn't said she doesn't support the protesters. She is making a statement to wash her hands of, I guess, inciting or encouraging a protest. That's important for a premier to do. And I really don't care what side of the spectrum you stand on. You can't have premiers saying, hey, everybody get out there and make noise and shut down the federal government. Again, Danielle Smith is doing tons of work against the federal government's policies. I don't see her not agreeing with this protest. Now, is she going to come out and say fully, I back this protest? Of course not. Tell me one premier that will. Tell me one premier that will come out and say, I fully support and endorse what these people are doing. It's not going to happen. Protesters on Highway 1 heading west from Calgary to Banff used traffic pylons to block one lane and slow traffic on Monday. By Tuesday morning, a large police presence arrived and prevented protesters from crossing a police line near a highway. So what I want to iterate here, and again, this is where we're going to show physical proof. I know this is a longer video, folks. Again, I want to make sure all bases are covered. I want to make sure everybody has a clear picture, because when you look at the media, when you look at what's reported, even True North News, they're doing a very good job here of iterating exactly what's going on, and we're going to go into detail. One woman told True North she was protesting because people are having difficulty paying for food, rent, and mortgages. We're being taxed again, and more people are falling behind, she said. Of course, here again, Rachel Emanuel, carbon tax protester Laura, says she came out because people are having difficulty paying for rent and groceries. Event organizers at various locations told True North that people are prepared to stay for weeks in hopes of swaying Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to remove his costly tax. We're going to be camping out. There's no departure date. Let's put it that way, organizer Elliot McDavid told True North at the Calgary protest on Monday. The tax rose to 17 cents per liter of gasoline, 21 cents per liter of diesel, and 15 cents per cubic meter of natural gas as of Monday, April 1st. Smith has long asked the federal government to scrap the carbon tax, and she reiterated those calls on Tuesday, saying the tax is punishing people. So again, she stands with what we want. So I think what's getting twisted here is, again, her basic due diligence of saying just please don't impede the traffic being constituted as she doesn't support the protest. The carbon tax has been tried, she says. It failed. It's punitive. People don't like it, especially in the middle of an affordability crisis. It's got to go. And this is again where a lot of people said, "Oh, but she's reinstalled this 3 cents per liter of the provincial tax for fuel." Again, those deals were put forward before she was premier. And if oil's at a certain level, I really just, when it goes to paying for our roads and our infrastructure, as long as that's where it's going as a tax-paying citizen, I personally don't have a problem with that. When you look at the protest, and this is where I want to be specific, because this is the Clown Broadcasting Corporation, CBC. I know this highway very well, and I can tell you right here where this black sign is, behind the protesters on the right. This is an overpass as you're heading out of Calgary towards Banff. There's a Petro-Canada gas station over here. This is a turnoff from Highway 1 where you can actually go north. I believe it's Highway 7 or Highway 11. I can't remember which one. Sorry to my fellow Albertans that know this better than I do. That goes out to Cochrane, Alberta. So you turn off where this woman in red is standing at the end to the right to go to Cochrane, or you go straight to head into Canmore, Banff, and the Rocky Mountains. Now, these folks, you can see they had their pylons. They've got a vehicle here. You can see a truck over to the right, and you can see the white light dots of the road. Now, where they're standing, because a lot of people will take this rail guard over here into consideration, say, wow, they're way out in the middle of the road. And again, this is what CBC wants to push. However, these white lines and where they're standing is a shoulder for the turnoff for Cochrane. So there's no vehicles driving on this portion of the road, which is, again, why they have their pylons here. And they're not impeding traffic. I'm going to play a bit of this video. I'm going to keep the audio off because, again, we know how CBC likes to copyright claims so that, you can't get their information out. But here, take a look. You can see them protesting. They're not impeding traffic. Traffic, of course, slowing down, some possibly in support. Some slowing down, again, for safety measures, possibly. Just like you would if you saw a police officer pulled over at the side of the road. But they've got these large orange pylons. And traffic seems to be moving. I don't see impeding traffic. Right? You can see over here other cities showing the flow. Now, I wanted to show that one highway because it's very specific that, again, they weren't on the road. Now, again, Danielle Smith did not clarify, I've been told people are on the road. Just simply, please just don't impede traffic. Now, the police have, and again, if you go back, watch my other videos from earlier in the week about the carbon tax protest. Sorry, my throat's squeaking every time I breathe in here. You'll notice the RCMP show up, and they had weapons. They had multiple officers standing there to stop people from getting near the road at that point, pushing them off onto a side roadway that actually leads into that Petro-Canada gas station I was telling you about. Basically making their protest moot. Nobody can really, people can see them, but they're not getting the message out there. They're not doing anything effective at that point. Now, when you want to talk about roadways being blocked, and again, this is where I'll stand on the other side of the spectrum. Robin McIntosh tweeting out, she'd better tell them to stop blocking the roads. Cops always got to fabricate evidence. Terrible. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from Daisy Media. This is in Saskatchewan. So this is in Alberta. This young lady was referring to Danielle Smith. Of course, you can see up here, Axe the Tax Reality. There's the officer with his gun. pro-Hamas protest, or rally, Axe the Tax rally, sorry, not reality. Pro-Hamas protest. Again, the cops offering coffee to these guys instead of being intimidating. Again, I agree. Let's take a listen to this clip.
That is our RCMP here in Saskatchewan, blocking the number 1 highway. Not a pylon, not a protester, not a vehicle, nothing.
This is showing you that it's the RCMP, at least in Saskatchewan, impeding the highway. Now, whether this was for, I'm assuming this is in regards to the protest. And again, I'm going to make that assumption and say that it's strictly based off of what I'm seeing. So if somebody says, oh, they were doing road construction or there was something going on, I'm assuming because this guy says it's not a pylon, not a protester, that this was during the protest. But you can see the RCMP blocking traffic. These are provincial/federal police. I'll say federal. I know the province has certain jurisdiction with the RCMP, but they're federal police. Blocking the highway, impeding traffic. So what does that say about the transportation of goods? That's something should be done to the RCMP. Now, this is at a time, and again, I'm going to wrap things up here, folks, but it's at a time where people are losing the shirts off their backs. People can't afford to pay their bills. I understand that hostilities go rampant and people often look for somebody to blame. Now, again, I'm not defending a politician because at the end of the day, whether Danielle Smith is a conservative, an NDP, a liberal, UCP, a separatist, whatever you want to call it, she's still a politician. But all I'm going to say is that before people lose their tempers, it's very important that we listen to words in this form of protest, that we listen and get the full message of what these politicians are reiterating to us. Because again, there at no point has Danielle Smith said she disagrees with the protest. She doesn't support the protest. She has simply said, just don't block the roads. She doesn't want anything like this happening because, again, at that point, they have to intervene. I want to give you guys this message. This here, tweeted out from good friend of the channel, Jamie Soleil, gold medalist figure skater, by the way. You should go check her out at Canadians for Truth. I love their shows. Jamie Soleil tweeting out this very inspirational podcast video. I'm assuming this is in the US. Again, I could be wrong. But let's take a listen to what he has to say. This is what we're starting to see more and more of these days, ladies and gentlemen. So this is where it gives you a little bit of hope.
I'm tired of innocent people dying. I'm tired of our families being taxed into poverty. I'm tired of our economy being shit. I'm tired of being taken advantage of. I'm tired of being manipulated. I'm tired of being purposefully enraged. I'm tired of the division. I'm tired of the hate. Our life is not supposed to be this way. Our life is supposed to be peaceful and pleasant and filled with opportunity and joy. And because we are led by a bunch of greedy tyrants, we aren't allowed to have that life. Our whole entire life gets stolen from us. I'm in my 40s now. I'm not 25. I'm not 35. I'm in my 40s. Time is more valuable when you get a little bit older. And when you start to realize what's actually happening here is that they are stealing our fucking lives that we will never get back. Okay? And that matters to me. I'm tired of
He nails it on the head. This gentleman nails it on the head. And again, if this is somebody who's well known, I apologize for not knowing who it is. I just found it so reassuring that people are waking up, that this is the beginning of the end. And I know people say, oh, I always see the it's over posts online and things like that. It really is the end. It's the beginning of the end. And while things are rough, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you with that quote that it's always darkest before the dawn, that daylight is coming. It is coming. Even if it's going to take us until the autumn of 2025, we're in the beginning of the end. Hopefully things don't get much worse than they do. And hopefully if you're out at the protests and watching this, if you're someone who's going to the protests, hopefully you're safe. Hopefully you make sure to follow all rules, because again, much like the Freedom Convoy, while the police and everyone are going to do as much as they can to criminalize those who want to speak out against Captain Socks, well, it's good to maintain our ground. It's good to keep our composure. Keep your cool, even if the police get in your face, and make sure to follow all rules, all laws, all precautions. Don't cross the lines. Be there for the right reasons. Carry the right message. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the dawn is coming. But let me know your thoughts down below on Danielle Smith. Let me know what you think about Smith's comments about her reinstituting the extra tax on the fuel. I'm always curious to hear what you guys have to say down below. Again, I had a survey in the community section of the channel. If you haven't answered that yet, make sure to head over and give your vote on that survey. With that being said, make sure to join me tonight here on the channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central for Friday Night Fringe, where we're going to go over everything that happened this week, everything that's coming up that we know of in the week ahead, and some back and forth with the community. I got a feeling tonight is going to be a fantastic show, and I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you there, and I look forward to chatting to you then. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.